Elisa Lam arrived in Los Angeles on a gray afternoon in February 2013. She stepped off the Greyhound bus, with her backpack slung over one shoulder and a small suitcase rolling behind her. It was supposed to be a solo adventure, a break from her routine life in Vancouver, a chance to find herself. She was 21, bright, creative, and struggling silently with waves of depression that she rarely talked about. But this trip was meant to clear her mind. She booked a room at the Cecil Hotel because it was cheap and centrally located. She had no idea of the hotel's history, its connection to serial killers, suicides, and dark urban legends. To Elisa, it was just another place to sleep for a few nights before heading to Santa Cruz. As she walked into the hotel lobby, the air inside felt heavy, colder than it should have been. The chandeliers flickered faintly. Behind the desk, the clerk looked up and smiled, but hesitated for a second, as if he recognized something in her face. He handed her the key to room 506 on the 5th floor. Her room was small and old. The walls were yellowed, the carpet was worn, and the ceiling fan creaked with every rotation. That first night, Elisa updated her blog, writing about her trip and posting pictures from around LA. But something in her tone hinted at unease. "This hotel's kinda weird," she wrote. "The hallway lights flicker non-stop. I thought I saw someone standing at the end of the corridor last night, but when I looked again, no one was there. Maybe I'm just tired." The next day, she called her parents. Her voice was calm, but her mother could tell something was off. Eliza mentioned hearing whispers outside her door in the middle of the night, even though no one was around. She laughed it off, but her mother wasn't convinced. She urged Elisa to be careful and keep in touch every day. Eliza promised she would. On the third night, Elisa complained to the front desk that her room felt strange, like someone had been inside while she was out. Nothing was missing, but the placement of her things had changed. Subtly, her toothpaste had moved, and the curtains were drawn when she remembered leaving them open. The staff dismissed it as housekeeping, but no one had entered her room. By the fourth night, she was seen in the lobby, pacing nervously. She spoke to a tourist for a few minutes, telling them, "Do you ever feel like something's following you? Not a person, just something." The tourist shrugged it off as a joke, and then she vanished. She missed her daily call to her parents. She didn't show up for checkout. Her belongings were all still in the room. Passport, wallet, phone, clothes, everything. The police were called, and a missing persons report was filed. Then, the elevator footage was found. The surveillance video from the hotel's security system showed Elisa getting into the elevator. She looked confused. She pressed multiple buttons, then crouched in the corner as if hiding from someone. She peeked outside several times. She made strange hand gestures, like talking to someone invisible. Her movements were erratic, unsettled. Then she stepped out and never came back. No footage showed her leaving the hotel. No witnesses. No leads. 2 weeks passed. The hotel remained open, but guests started complaining about the water. "It smells bad," one couple said. "It's brownish," another reported. Someone even said it tasted off, metallic. Finally, a maintenance worker was sent to the rooftop water tanks. He climbed the narrow stairs, unlocked the steel hatch, and lifted the heavy lid of one of the 4 tanks. Then he screamed. Inside the tank, floating face up in the dark, cold water, was the body of Elisa Lam. The news spread like wildfire. The body of Elisa Lam had been discovered in a rooftop water tank that supposedly no one had access to. Her clothes were missing. Her body was decomposing. And worst of all, the hotel guests had been drinking, bathing, and brushing their teeth with that same water for weeks. The police cordoned off the entire rooftop. They tried to understand how she got up there. The door leading to the roof was locked and alarmed. No signs of forced entry. The water tank was tall, its lid heavy. It wasn't something an average person could open alone, especially not someone in Elisa's fragile mental state. The autopsy ruled the death accidental drowning, with no evidence of drugs or alcohol. They claimed she suffered a manic episode due to her bipolar disorder and climbed into the tank herself, but the public wasn't buying it. Conspiracy theories exploded across the internet. People dissected every frame of the elevator footage. They noticed how the doors didn't close, no matter how many buttons Elisa pressed. They slowed down the video and insisted there was a shadow outside the door. Some believed she was being chased. Others thought she was possessed. One Reddit user wrote, "The way she moves, it's not normal. It's like something else had taken control." Back in Vancouver, her parents were devastated. They couldn't accept the official story. Elisa had been careful with her medication. She had her whole trip planned. She wasn't suicidal. A journalist named Alex Monroe, known for covering unsolved crimes, arrived in LA after the story broke. He checked into the same hotel, room 508. His goal wasn't just to write about the case. He wanted to understand what really happened. He requested access to the rooftop, but the hotel denied him. That night, he sat in his room reviewing every detail. He rewatched the elevator video again and again. One frame caught his attention, a reflection in the metal panel behind Elisa, just before she steps out. It looked like a hand, but not hers. Alex circled it on his screen. Heart thumping. He turned off the lights in his room to think. That's when he heard something. Dripping. He checked the bathroom. Dry. Still, the sound continued. He moved closer to the wall behind his bed. The sound was coming from the other side. He knocked. 3 soft taps came back. Goosebumps rushed up his spine. Alex grabbed his phone and walked into the hallway. Everything was still, dimly lit. The air smelled faintly of mildew. He checked the room next to his, 506. Elisa's room. It was unoccupied. Locked. He leaned his ear to the door. Silence. Then, a whisper. Just one word. "Help!" Alex jumped back, heart racing. He went downstairs to the front desk. "Who's in 506? He asked. The clerk looked up. "Nobody. It's sealed. Police orders." "I heard something," Alex said, breathless. From inside, the clerk narrowed his eyes. "Sir, if you're trying to mess with hotel security..." "I'm not," Alex snapped. "Check the cameras." The clerk hesitated, then picked up the phone to call the manager. Meanwhile, Alex went back upstairs. He stood outside 506, trembling. He knocked softly. No answer. He turned to leave. Then the door creaked open. No one was inside. The room was dark, lit only by a flickering hallway bulb. Alex stepped in. The air felt thick, damp. The smell was foul, like standing water and decay. Suddenly, the bathroom door slammed shut. Alex ran to it, turned the knob, locked. He banged on the door. "Hello? Who's in there?" Silence. Then the sound of dripping again, followed by the faint, unmistakable sound of someone crying. And then a whisper, not from the bathroom, from behind him. "She's still here." Alex turned. The mirror above the dresser had fogged up completely. Written on it, as if by a finger dragging through steam, were 3 words. "Look once more." Alex's breath caught in his throat. He stared at the message on the mirror. "Look once more." It was fading slowly as the glass cleared. But the writing had been there. Someone, or something, wanted him to keep going. But the room was empty. The bathroom door had gone silent. Still trembling, Alex stepped closer to the mirror. He pulled out his phone and snapped a photo just before the message disappeared completely. He needed proof, some kind of record of what he'd seen. Then, a loud metallic clang echoed from the ceiling. The sound vibrated through the walls like something had fallen. Something heavy. Alex rushed into the hallway, heart pounding, looking up at the rusted ventilation shafts. Silence. Then he noticed something dripping onto the carpet outside room 504. Dark, thick, wet. He bent down and touched it. Water, but not clear. It was murky, brownish red. He followed the slow drip up to the ceiling, where a water stain was spreading like a disease. It was directly below the water tanks. Alex's stomach twisted. He didn't sleep that night. He checked out of the Cecil first thing in the morning and moved into a motel across the street. But his mind wouldn't rest. What if Elisa never got into the tank on her own? What if something drove her up there? Later that afternoon, Alex met with Officer Diane Taylor, one of the original investigators on the case. She'd since retired and moved to Santa Clarita, but agreed to meet him at a coffee shop. "You want to know the truth?" she said, stirring her coffee with trembling fingers. "That case haunts me. Still does." "Do you believe she climbed in herself?" Alex asked. Diane looked him dead in the eyes. "No, not for a second. You know what they don't tell the public? Her fingerprints weren't found on the tank lid. None. But they closed the case fast, because the media circus was out of control. The hotel was losing business." Alex leaned in. "So what do you think happened?" Diane hesitated. then whispered, "You ever heard of Richard Ramirez?" Alex nodded. "The Night Stalker. He stayed at the Cecil." "Exactly. And before him? Jack Unterweger, another serial killer. Both lived there, and those are just the famous ones. That building," she trailed off, looking out the window like she could see the hotel from miles away. It's soaked in darkness, like something never left. Alex sat back, chilled. Diane continued. "Elisa had no reason to go to the roof. Her keycard didn't give her access, and the alarm didn't go off. We checked, so how'd she get up there?" Alex couldn't answer. "Want to know the worst part?" Diane said. "The night before her body was found, a guest in 708 said she saw a woman soaking wet, standing at the end of the hallway." She reported it. Security brushed it off, but the description fit Elisa, clothes and all, except she was barefoot. Said she left watery footprints. Alex sat in silence, the pieces slowly falling into place. There were too many coincidences, too many things left unexplained. That night, back in his motel, Alex reviewed the elevator footage again. He paused at the frame where Elisa seemed to speak to someone off camera. He enhanced the video, boosted the contrast. In the reflection of the elevator's chrome panel, a shape took form, a face, pale, hollow-eyed. It wasn't hers, and it was smiling. "Would you like me to continue with episode 4? Alex stared at the distorted face in the elevator panel. It didn't resemble Elisa. This face was longer, gaunt, with eyes sunken deep into their sockets, and a grin stretched too wide. The grin wasn't human. He replayed the footage again, frame by frame. Every time Elisa steps out, it's like she's responding to someone. Her gestures, her pauses, they weren't random. She was communicating, or pleading. And the longer he watched, the more Alex noticed something chilling. Every time she moved toward the elevator door, the face shifted positions in the reflection, like it was waiting for her. Alex backed away from his laptop. He'd stared into dark stories before. Serial killers, cults, disappearances, but this felt different. It was like the case was staring back now. Something had reached through the grainy surveillance tape and touched him. That night, he received an email from a burner account. No subject line. The body of the email was a single sentence. "Stop looking before it starts looking back." Attached was a blurry image, screenshot from the elevator footage. But it wasn't from any public copy. This version showed a second shadow behind Elisa. Taller, darker, barely visible in the corner. Not a trick of light. It had shape, mass, and eyes. Someone didn't want him getting closer. The next morning, Alex visited the rooftop of a nearby building. With binoculars, he had a clear view of the Cecil's water tanks. He tried to picture the layout. The height, the difficulty it would take for a small woman to open the heavy lid and climb inside on her own. Impossible. He zoomed in, and his heart stopped. One of the tanks, the lid was off again, and standing beside it, motionless, was a figure, female, wearing a black hoodie, hair hanging wet and stringy over her face. Alex blinked. She was gone. He didn't imagine it. He knew what he saw. He rushed downstairs, ran into the street, and crossed toward the hotel entrance, but stopped in his tracks. Someone was already waiting. A man, thin, dressed in a hotel maintenance uniform, eyes hollow, face blank. As Alex passed, the man muttered under his breath, "She's still thirsty." Alex spun around. "What did you say?" But the man was gone, vanished into the alleyway. That evening, Alex met with Maribel, a former janitor who worked at the Cecil during Elisa's stay. She'd been trying to forget what she'd seen, but when she heard Alex was investigating again, she agreed to talk. "I cleaned her floor," Maribel said quietly. "The day after she disappeared, I found the elevator stuck open, just like in the video. But what no one talks about..." She stopped, clutching her rosary. "What?" Alex urged. There were wet footprints leading away from the elevator. Bare feet, but they weren't normal. They looked wrong, like the toes were twisted. Where did they lead? Maribel's eyes welled up. To the fire escape. That night, Alex couldn't sleep. Not in the motel. Not with everything he knew now, so he made a choice. He checked back into the Cecil. He needed to be there, to feel it for himself, to walk Elisa's last steps. He requested room 506, the same one she'd stayed in. It was late when he entered the room. Everything was untouched, yet cold. The same damp smell lingered in the air. The walls creaked softly. He opened his laptop and began typing his notes, but the words wouldn't come. Then the lights flickered. The faucet dripped once, then again, then faster. Alex stood, walked to the sink. That's when he heard it. From the bathroom mirror, a voice, soft, whispering, "You're next." Alex froze. The voice, faint and chilling, had come from behind him, but the bathroom was empty. Only the mirror stared back at him. His own reflection trembled slightly, out of sync, like it lagged for a split second. He wiped the condensation from the glass with the sleeve of his shirt. Nothing. But then, as he turned off the light to leave the bathroom, he noticed something written faintly in the steam again. This time it read, "Follow the water." Alex stumbled back, heart pounding. He grabbed his recorder and spoke into it, breath unsteady. "Room 506, third night. Voices in the mirror. Second message. Same handwriting, same pressure. But how is this happening?" He didn't sleep that night. Instead, he traced the hotel's water system blueprints he'd obtained from public records. All pipes from the upper floors, including the room Elisa stayed in, connected to the rooftop tanks. A thought hit him like a jolt of lightning. What if Elisa wasn't alone in that tank? Not physically, maybe, but spiritually? Could something be using the water? Alex had to know. The next morning, under the cover of dawn, he made his way up the fire escape, retracing the steps Elisa might have taken. He reached the rooftop. There were the tanks, silent, massive, cold. The same one she was found in stood before him, lid shut tight. He walked slowly around it, his breath fogging in the morning chill. The sun hadn't fully risen, and the air felt off, like something was pressing down on the world. Suddenly, clink, a noise echoed from within the tank. Alex held his breath, then drip, 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 coming from inside. He climbed the ladder, heart pounding with each step, and slowly, so slowly, lifted the lid. Empty, no body, no water, just rust-stained metal, and the stale scent of something that had once been there. Something that lingered. He peered deeper in, and his phone buzzed in his pocket. He jerked back, startled. A text, no number, no contact name, just 4 words. "She never left here." Alex dropped back down and stumbled across the rooftop. His chest tightened. It was like being watched by the building itself. He left the roof and went straight to the security office. The new management had no clue about him or his investigation, but he bluffed his way through, claiming he was a city inspector reviewing past incidents. The guard, young and clearly bored, let him access a forgotten drive labeled archive_2013_cam. It was buried under years of footage. And then, he found something. A hallway cam from the night Elisa disappeared. She walks past the camera, alone. But a few frames later, as she vanishes around the corner, a second figure enters frame, following her. But it's not clear. It's barely human-shaped, shadowy. No facial features, just there, like darkness had taken a form. He paused the footage. The figure's shadow wasn't cast on the floor. Alex felt sick. He downloaded the clip, slipped out of the office, and ran back to his room. Later that night, he uploaded the video to his private drive, but when he replayed the file, it had changed. Elisa's part was missing. Only the dark figure remained, walking slowly toward the camera until it filled the screen. Then the video glitched and ended. Alex stared at the screen, heart thundering. Someone or something was deleting her. Alex couldn't stop shaking. The footage was real. He knew what he had seen. Eliza walking the corridor, followed by a shapeless shadow, and now she was gone from it, erased. Only the entity remained. His laptop screen went black, then flickered back on, only for a second. Now his desktop wallpaper had changed. It was a still from the hallway video, but with one terrifying detail. The shadowy figure was staring straight at the camera. At him, Alex slammed the laptop shut and stumbled away. He had to leave, but as he reached for the door of room 506, he noticed something horrifying. Water pooling beneath the bathroom door. Slow, steady. He hadn't turned on the faucet. Cautiously, he pushed the door open. Inside, the tub was full, to the brim with black, murky water, and there was something floating just beneath the surface. Hair, long, black, tangled. Suddenly, the water splashed violently, like someone was trying to claw their way out. Alex backed out of the room, slammed the door, and grabbed his recorder again, his voice a whisper. "I think something from the water is watching me. It's not just Elisa's spirit, it's something older. Something that was already here." He remembered what Maribel had said. "She's still thirsty." Alex fled the room and went straight to the basement, where the building's old water system was kept. Few dared go down there. It smelled of mold, rust, and history that didn't want to be remembered. He found the original maintenance logbooks, old, dusty, and forgotten. Inside one dated 1984, a line was scribbled hastily. Second guest drowned in their tub this month. No leaks. Pipes clear. Said she heard a woman singing beneath the water. Another entry from 1992. Guest in room 412 complained of weeping in the shower, but no one was checked in above her. It went on, year after year. Different room numbers. Same pattern. People seeing reflections that weren't theirs. Water turning black. Voices whispering from drains. And always the sound of someone calling for help. Alex felt dizzy. It wasn't just Elisa. The Cecil had been bleeding stories for decades. Whatever haunted it wasn't a single spirit. It was a presence, a parasite, feeding on grief, loneliness, despair, and it had chosen Elisa. Or maybe she had awoken it. He turned a page and froze. A photograph was paperclipped to the back cover. A young woman in the 1950s, wearing a modest dress, standing on the rooftop by the tanks. Same smile as Elisa. Same build. Written on the back, Margaret Ellis. Last seen March 3rd, 1954. Found in water tank. Alex couldn't breathe. There had been others, all women, all alone, all found in water. His phone vibrated. A voicemail. No caller ID. He hit play. The voice was muffled, underwater, but one word was clear. Alex. Alex stared at his phone in disbelief. The voice had said his name. Garbled, soaked, distant, but it knew him. His hands trembled as he replayed the voicemail. This time, there was more. A soft gurgle, like someone trying to breathe through water. Then, a whisper. She's not alone. Click. Silence. Alex dropped the phone. His mind raced. He knew now. This was never just Elisa's tragedy. It was a pattern, a cycle. Women like Margaret Ellis, like Elisa Lam, drawn to the Cecil as if summoned. The building didn't just house the dead. It collected them. That night, Alex left the hotel. He booked a room across the street to get space. But from his new window, he could still see the Cecil looming in the distance. Dark, foreboding, alive. As midnight crept in, he reviewed the original elevator surveillance footage again, the public version. Elisa's erratic behavior, the way she appeared to be talking to something invisible, how she seemed afraid. But he noticed something no one had caught before. Just before she presses the last button, she looks up, not at the ceiling, but past the camera, like someone was standing right behind it. And then, he found another oddity, a brief flicker in the frame, almost unnoticeable. A time-stamped glitch, a moment cut from the recording. He slowed it frame by frame, and there it was, for less than half a second. In the black space beside the elevator doors, face pale, hollow-eyed, dripping wet, watching her, watching him now. The moment Alex paused the footage, every light in his room went out. Total darkness. The hum of the fridge died. The AC stopped. Then, rip, rip, rip. He turned his head toward the bathroom. No one had used the sink. No one had touched the shower, yet he heard it. Rip, rip, rip. Slow, intentional, like footsteps made of water. He moved cautiously, using his phone's flashlight. The bathroom door creaked open. Nothing, until he looked into the mirror with a handprint. Small, feminine, on the inside of the glass. Alex backed away, heart racing. Suddenly, a message appeared, drawn by invisible fingers. "Help me!" He stumbled out of the bathroom, breathing heavy, panicked. Then he saw something on the floor, just beneath the door, a folded piece of paper. Picked it up. It was torn from an old guest book, in a woman's shaky handwriting. Room 506 is the mouth. The tanks are the throat. The Cecil drinks the lonely. There were water stains across the page. And at the bottom, in fresh ink, tell her story, and she might rest. Stay silent, and she'll take you to. Alex clutched the paper, stunned. This wasn't just a haunting. This was a message, a warning, and maybe, just maybe, a way to stop it. Alex didn't sleep that night. He couldn't, not after what he saw in the mirror, not after the voicemail, message, wet handprint, face. Morning brought a gray, lifeless light, and with it, a deeper fear, because the events of the night hadn't vanished with the sunrise. Message was still there on the bathroom mirror. Paper was still in his hand. His phone had another voicemail, no number, no color. Shaking, he pressed play. This time it was different. There was no voice, only a sound, gurgling, water filling lungs, and came something worse, the echo of a scream. Muffled, distant, coming from somewhere deep in the background. Dull banging, like fists against metal. Water tank. Alex clutched his chest. His breathing became erratic. He had to go back. As much as he wanted to run, something inside him knew. Elisa's story had called to him. Now, He had a role in it. He returned to the Cecil Hotel. Front desk clerk didn't even ask questions this time. It was as if they knew, as if many had walked in before him with the same look in their eyes. He took the elevator to the top floor and made his way up the final flight of stairs that led to the roof. Technically, he wasn't allowed up there. The door was unlocked. Waiting, he stepped onto the roof. The air sharp and strangely heavy. City stretched out around him, alive with sound and motion. Up here, only silence, and he saw them. Tanks, all rusted. Standing like silent sentinels, he moved toward the one where Elisa had been found. He circled it, stopped, and saw something scratched into the metal with a nail or a knife. Help her out, or she takes your place. Suddenly, the tank shuddered. Alex froze. Lid, sealed for years, creaked open by itself. Inside, water, still, dark, and beneath the surface, air floated. Elisa's? He took a step back, fear overtaking his senses. Then something pulled at his pant leg. He jumped. Nothing there. The cuff of his jeans was wet. Turned. No water on the ground. Nothing had touched him, and yet he was soaked. Suddenly, a voice called out behind him. A girl's voice. Shaky, afraid. I didn't mean to stay. I didn't mean to stay. Alex spun around. No one. Then, standing at the edge of the rooftop, just beside the tower's rusted ladder, he saw her. Elisa, not the corpse. Her, real, alive looking. Wearing the red hoodie, her black hair in tangles, and her eyes pleading. Tell them what happened, she said, voice trembling. Don't let me disappear again. Alex stepped forward. Tell who? Who did this to you? Her lips parted to answer, but then she was yanked backward, as if by an invisible force. Dragged screaming across the roof, back toward the tank. Alex ran, but by the time he reached the edge, she was gone. The tank lid was closed, silent. Still, like nothing had ever happened. But Alex knew what he saw, and now he knew what he had to do. He had to tell everything before the Cecil decided he wasn't just a witness anymore, but the next offering. Alex stumbled back from the tank, heart hammering in his chest. He didn't scream. He couldn't. The shock had frozen him. He saw her, not a ghost, not a vision. Elisa Lam, alive, speaking, terrified, then yanked into the water as if the tank itself had devoured her. He needed to get off the roof, now. He ran, down the stairs, past peeling wallpaper and buzzing lights. The hallways twisted around him like a maze, and for a moment, it felt like the hotel was shifting, turning itself into something unnatural. By the time he reached the lobby, the day felt darker. Time moved differently here. Back in his car, Alex sat for nearly 10 minutes, trying to calm his breath, and he grabbed his laptop. If the hotel was swallowing souls, he had to start somewhere. He began digging deeper into Elisa's case. Hours blurred. Every time he thought he found something, it unraveled. Reports were missing. Police statements redacted. CCTV footage edited. And that voicemail from last night, gone. Vanished from his phone without a trace. He uploaded a video, just a raw clip of what he'd seen on the roof. Not the full story, just a teaser. Within an hour, his inbox exploded. People claiming to have seen Elisa too, not just at the Cecil, but in other hotels, other cities, always near water, always alone. One message stood out, from a woman named Dr. Claire Maddox, a retired psychologist from Vancouver. Her message was brief. She came to me once, said something was following her from the moment she arrived in LA. I didn't believe her then. I do now. If you really want answers, meet me. Come alone. There are others watching. Midnight, St. Andrew's Chapel, Glendale. Alex stared at the screen. Chapel? At midnight? It sounded insane. What had happened so far wasn't sane either. That night, he made the drive. Chapel was small, stone-built, nearly swallowed by trees. Parking lot was empty. He stepped inside. Candles flickered at the altar. The air smelled of dust and decay. A figure sat in the front pew. Dr. Maddox, late 60s. Sharp eyes, dressed in black. She looked like she hadn't slept in years. You saw her, she said without turning around. Alex nodded. She spoke to me, asked me to tell her story. Dr. Maddox finally faced him. Then, she's not finished with you. Neither is it. Alex frowned. It? The entity. One in the water. One inside the hotel. Lisa wasn't the first. She was just the only one who got attention. But others vanished without a trace. Alex sat beside her. What is it? Dr. Maddox paused and whispered. An old hunger. Something that needs isolation. Reef. And water. It's not a ghost. Older than that. Elisa was sensitive. She heard it. It spoke to her, lured her to the roof. She looked at him then, eyes sharp. Now, It's speaking to you. Alex felt cold. What does it want? She leaned closer. He remembered. You have stories told about it. Every retelling gives it strength. Every video, every share. It feeds on curiosity, on fear. Alex's breath caught. You're telling me my videos are making it stronger? Dr. Maddox nodded slowly. If you stop now, it'll turn on you. Suddenly, the chapel door slammed shut. The candles blew out. And from the back pews, a soft dripping began. Rip, rip, rip. Then, voice. Soft. Distant, echoing from the rafters. She told you. Tell her story. Chapel plunged into darkness. Alex's skin prickled with cold sweat as the voice echoed again. Tell her story. Turned to Dr. Maddox. But her seat was empty. On. As if she'd never been there. Just the faint warmth where she'd sat. Dr. Maddox whispered. No answer. Then a sudden gust of freezing air blew down the aisle, sending a cluster of prayer books fluttering to the floor. The candles sparked to life again, one by one, revealing the interior now soaked in moisture. Stone walls dripped with condensation. Pews were slick water. Alex stumbled to his feet, heart pounding. He looked toward the altar and froze. There, in the pulpit, stood Elisa. Not soaked, not decaying, just watching him. Her lips parted as if to speak, but her face twitched, glitching like corrupted video. One eye blinked. The other stayed open. Her limbs stiffened, marionette-like. Her voice, not hers, spoke through her mouth. You told the world I was crazy, that I was sick, but I wasn't. The voice was layered, hollow, echoing through 1,000 chambers. Alex shook his head. I never said that. I want to help you. You're not helping. You're feeding it, she snapped, and the voice cracked like thunder. The more you talk, the more it watches, the more it follows. Suddenly, her body convulsed and then vanished. On. Alex turned, ready to run, but the chapel doors burst open. He was no longer alone. Figures entered, dozens, silent, pale, dressed in soaked clothes, their eyes vacant. They filled the chapel wordlessly. A woman with green earrings, a man in a janitor's uniform, a teenager with headphones around his neck, faces blurred, their outlines flickered, all wet, dripping, all watching Alex. Then he understood. Forgotten, all of them, lost to this entity, swallowed by the mystery. Victims of the hunger that lived in the Cecil. Backed away slowly. A voice whispered in his mind. Not his own. You either tell the truth, or you join this silence. Alex bolted. He didn't remember how he got back to his car, just that it took him 20 minutes to stop shaking enough to drive. Back home, he locked every door, shut every curtain, and he opened his laptop. There, waiting on the screen without being opened, was a new video file, idle. Final footage. Elisa, he hadn't downloaded it. He hadn't recorded it. He hesitated and pressed play. Video was grainy, black and white. Began with elevator footage. Elisa standing inside. Same footage the world had seen before. This time, it was different. The elevator didn't just malfunction. It responded. She pressed the buttons. Then they changed. Symbols flickered. Foreign, not numbers. Elisa looked scared. She stepped out, and the footage followed. The hallway grew darker, narrower. She looked back. There was no camera, yet her movements were still being recorded. She stopped, looked directly into the lens, and whispered, "It's watching me through you." And static. The screen went black, and when it came back, Alex saw his own face. Through his webcam, footage was live. He slammed the laptop shut, breathing ragged. Now, he understood his thing. It wasn't just haunting the hotel. It was moving through the story, through him. All wet, dripping, all watching Alex. Then he understood. Forgotten, all of them lost to this entity, swallowed by the mystery. Victims of the hunger that lived in the Cecil. Backed away slowly. A voice whispered in his mind. Not his own. You either tell the truth, or you join the silence. Alex bolted. He didn't remember how he got back to his car, just that it took him 20 minutes to stop shaking enough to drive. Back home, he locked every door, shut every curtain, and he opened his laptop. There, waiting on the screen without being opened, was a new video file. Idle. Final footage. Elisa, he hadn't downloaded it. He hadn't recorded it. He hesitated and pressed play. Video was grainy, black and white. Began with elevator footage. Elisa standing inside. Same footage the world had seen before. This time, it was different. The elevator didn't just malfunction. It responded. She pressed the buttons. Then they changed. Symbols flickered. Foreign, not numbers. Elisa looked scared. She stepped out, and the footage followed. The hallway grew darker, narrower. She looked back. There was no camera, yet her movements were still being recorded. She stopped, looked directly into the lens, whispered, "It's watching me through you." And static. The screen went black, and when it came back, Alex saw his own face. Through his webcam, footage was live. He slammed the laptop shut, breathing ragged. Now, he understood his thing. It wasn't just haunting the hotel. It was moving through the story, through him.